The next topic we want to consider is the remainder theorem. The remainder theorem says that when we have some polynomial that we're going to call f of x, and we divide that by a linear polynomial. Linear means that we only have an x term, so we don't have any x squared or x cubed terms. We have just an x term and some number, which we're going to call a here, so a linear polynomial, x minus a. Then the remainder of that division will be equivalent to f of a. So let's consider what this means. Notice that just like when we are transforming functions and we have x minus h, we want to notice that our a value here in x minus 3 for our example problem is 3. It is also going to be the value that makes this linear polynomial into 0, so it's 3. And then we can just evaluate this as f of a with our a value here of 3. It'll be 4 times 3 to the third power plus 5. So we can put this into our calculator. And first we want to exit out of what we're in here. Second mode here gives us quit, so we've exited out. And we can just put this in just the way it is here. 4 times 3, this up caret will let me put in this power of 3. And then I can just use my side arrow to get out of the top, plus 5, and 113. So the remainder here should be 130. And then we're going to check that. So let's write 113. So is this true? Well, let's try doing this division. If we set up our grid, we know that we want to have x and minus 3 here. And then we want to fill in 4x to the third power here. So I would need to multiply then by 4x squared, because 4x squared times x is 4x to the third. And multiplying down, I have negative 12x squared. We can draw this down. Now there's no x squared term here, so I need to have 12x squared here so that we end up with 0x squared. And that means that up here I must have 12x. So down here I'm going to get negative 36x. And extending out my lines, I know that I also need to have no x terms, so I must have positive 36x here, so that must be 36 up here. And then I have 36 times negative 3, or negative 108. And remember that I find my remainder as what I started with, 5, minus what I calculated, which is negative 108. Remember that minus minus is plus, so I get a remainder of 113. That is the remainder. If I were writing it as a fraction, it would be 113 over x minus 3, but this is just the remainder that we are looking for here. And this does check with our much faster just evaluate at a technique.